Right, let's move on to the last tab sheet for our purpose. That means is tab sheet number 4, winners. What you can see here is like that label for the lucky draw selected person or bookmark person a little bit earlier needs to be worked out. The ready group box is not yet populated. It needs to be populated based on the latest update of the age groups. And then whatever is selected based on that ready group box, those particular first, second winners then should be displayed right at the bottom here. So we have got quite a few interesting things to come up. First of all, we need to do some preparational work again. That means most probably we are moving over to an on-show event again. So let's quickly go there, tab sheet number 4, on-show event for the tab sheet winners. So what happens here is the participants table for first is like unfiltered. That could be a little bit of a doubling if you look back what happened here. That was filtered put to false, now it's filtered put to false again, but it could have happened that the person actually is skipping that third tab sheet, jumping from here to here, and we still would like to have it unfiltered. So that's why we put it here again. Now interesting, if no bookmark happened earlier, then it's a little bit of a problem coming here, since we don't have any valuable information. So to test that, we just ask, is lucky draw equal to null? That means, is it pointing to nowhere? That means nothing is allocated to it. No bookmark, no real bookmark is allocated to it. So we say if that is not the case, that means some bookmark is allocated to lucky draw, then let's do that action. If nothing was allocated to it, just come up with no lucky draw and some message. Now let's see what's happening here. We're just going back to that specific bookmark. As we can recall, the lucky draw keeps all the information, what table, what record number, and we are recalling that information. That means the pointer is moved back to that record in the table. Then we are locating that specific value here from the participants table. The ID number will be located inside the field ID num, inside table applicant. If that is found, as we know it from the past, we'll get a yes or true, like here, and we can start working with that. A test would be maybe a good thing, but we already tested beforehand. So what is left is we need to gather all the information. That means that locate is actually relocating then the pointer to that data we need to extract now. So we're getting the ID number, we're getting the surname, first name, and everything we want to display on that label. Beautiful. Let's move on and let's see what is next. Then we need to clear, in case something was done before and inside that radio group box, we need to clear it and reset our pointer to the first record inside table age groups. Now running through, we already know that piece of coding here. We again running through all the different age groups from the minimum to maximum, or from age to age, and adding it then into the radio group box this time, not to a tab. Okay, so that populates then actually our radio group box and gets it ready for selection. Now coming to the selection of the radio group box, maybe we should recall that we are asked to first choose the gender and then second choose the age group selection. So if you do it the opposite way around, that means we're going for second, like selecting female or male, no action will take place, since the program isn't defined to do that at this point of time, to keep it easy. So what happens here first? The tab index is extracted again based on that tab index. Then of course from the radio group box we're getting a specific value very similar to what we had in the past. Based on that age group we're getting our minimum and our maximum. And just recall that minimum and maximum are like artificial ID numbers with a minimum year stretching to maximum year, and that is then used for filtering. So even the filtering here is quite similar what we had in the past. So in case the female and the male was checked, we need to filter all of it. In case only one of these are checked, let's say like F or M was checked, then we need to add in the gender. That means we have got an additional like condition coming up, which is then another AND here with the gender field must fit, or it must be equal to gender S, being worked out right here. Okay. Having all that data in place, we're doing the filtering by switching filter to true, and we're updating our status bar with the relevant information. We are not done yet. Now copy selected records over and merge. What actually happens from here is we need to merge some data from two different tables, and you can clearly see from where these information pieces are coming. Clearly here you can see the participants table is involved, and down here the applicants table is involved, and all that information needs to be passed over to the winning table, which is or should be like cleaned out first. So let's step through it. First of all, we open the winning table, then we move back to the first record and just start deleting till no single record is left over. Let's move on here for the participants table. We need to move back to the first record and then running through the participants, because inside the participants we've got the real identity, we've got the time, we've got age group, everything we actually need. Then we get the table winners ready for insertion. That means we're adding up another record and actually pouring all that information coming from the participants table, like the ID number, start number, gender, ID number, surname, first name, amount paid, and so on. All the information then is pushed over to the winners table, and then we're coming to posting. Of course, posting is the same as saving. Now, interesting, when I did it the first time after switching over to ADO components instead of BDE components, which we used in the past, I got a huge problem. And the huge problem was called like this. And that error indication tells you actually nothing. Multiple step operation generated errors. Check each status value. Now, after looking up and browsing some problems and consulting Microsoft, it became clear that in most cases that solution number 2 would be your solution, and the problem is very simple and easy. You try to fit in a text into a data field which is not big enough. That means you want to fit like 12 characters into a field which was defined inside Access as being only 10 characters. So be alert for that type of thing in the future. It will happen many times talking ADO components. Having all that in place, we're moving to the next participant and winning in the next information. Now, of course, only the best 3 should be considered for prizes. So we need to somehow sort the winning table according to a specific order, and that order then is easily defined through our index. We're talking right at the front about is the time. We put up an index called time on the field time, and that is helping us now. The moment we make that index, the current index, actually everything is sorted according to the time, and that is just what we are looking at. Even though there's some doubling of time, we have got a clear sequence from best to worst. Now then coming to prizes, and let's quickly see, there's my prize button. That means first we're listing all those people from best times to worst times, and then the first 3 are actually in line for the prize giving. And the first one, as we can recall, his entry money is like multiplied by 4. So let's quickly see how can we establish that one. We're scrolling back to the first one, which is our most important candidate for that selected age group from the radio group box. Then we've got a variable here called record number, rec number, maybe not the best naming for that variable. Then we why not add a file? We're doing the next. We just go for editing. We need to go for editing since we're doing some changes, changing the winning money, and we are looking up. Yes, we are looking up what that person was like paying in. So it was actually taken over to the field amount 1, which is not yet true. After we are done, it's true. And that is multiplied times 4 minus rec num. Now that rec number, that could be a little bit misleading, but it's coming from right here. So we are just looking at those records being smaller than 3, starting from a 0, and running through them. That means the first, the second, and the third is getting a price. And the first is times 4, second then is times 3, since it is subtracted, 4 minus whatever comes here, through that loop, and then the last one, number 3. All the others, from number 4 onwards, they're just getting a winning price of 0. That means they're getting no payback. Then, of course, we need to increment that record number and post that back. That means save it back for future purposes and references. And going next, next, next. Right, that brings us about to the end of that little bit longer 570 lines of coding little database application. And I hope you learned something about it and learned something around about Delphi. That will it be. See you again.